I've got a quote here from you guys, which I really like, and I'd like you to elaborate on. And it says, we proudly produce certified organic garlic, ginger, turmeric and lemongrass on our farm in Dairyville, right next to a national park near Coffs Harbour, North Coast, New South Wales, Australia. We like to call our fresh produce happy food because our focus is to provide great soil and all the nutrients and biology for the plants to grow the way they want, thus happy.
Yeah.
I love it.
Do you really think a watermelon plant is happy when they clamp it to create a square watermelon?
Is that what they do?
That's what they're doing now. I mean, I don't think that watermelon plant is too happy, do you? It's being restricted. It can't be a beautiful watermelon with the, every plant's idiosyncrasies. So yes, if I give it the right nutrition in the soil, the right basis, and I allow the complexity and the diversity in the soil, which has got to do with your product a little bit, then of course the plants are going to be happy. They're not going to be stressed.
Yeah. And so since you moved here 12 years ago, is that that's the principle you've been?
Absolutely,
yeah.
Would you call it regenerative, organic, or is there a...
Well, I'm certified organic,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not just that, because I also use some biodynamic preps. There's also some permaculture in what I do. I pick up bits and pieces, but I'm not, apart from the certified organic process that I have to maintain, I try to just do what feels right. And that it's observation. And you speak to most farmers, and most farmers are very good observers, but they're all struggling because they're all doing this big thing, and if they don't do the big thing, they don't make any money.
Do you see a solution to that?
Yes, and we've spoken about that, and that's letting the biology do a lot of the work for us. And that requires a change in our attitudes. And particularly in the early days when the soil wasn't very well balanced, I would have insect problems as the insects would come in because the plants were distressed. And so that's all part of the organic system, but it's greater than that. It's observation. And you speak to most farmers, and most farmers are very good observers. Letting the biology do a lot of the work for us. And that requires a change in our attitudes and our processes. Just the way in which we, instead of putting a lot of steel in the soil all the time, disturbing all the peds and all the biology and just destroying their homes all the time because we want a good tilth, so that so that the seed we take can modify. That's just one example. But you've got to have the diversity, you've got to have the complexity in your systems, so that everything can match up. If you've got a problem, there's a solution right nearby. Yeah. But guess what? If you've got the biology there, they sort it out. So, and that is where it's really important that we have to provide homes for the biology. We have to provide a little bit of food for when it's tough times, like when I do put my steel in the ground, I've got to follow it up to boost the biology back up so the peds regrow, the bacteria form the homes for the funguses and so forth, and the whole system's got to re-establish itself. And I do that with things like product from the ocean. I mean, where does most of our nutrient end up? In the ocean at the moment? There's a lot of nutrient available in the ocean that's no longer available on the continent of Australia. And so we can bring that back by using things like fishhydrolysate and other seaweeds and things like that. So I mean, a nice healthy soil. It's aerated, it's anaerobic, it's got plenty of holes in it with the worms. I do my own compost. That's very important because that really stimulates things. I try to make that as complex as I can. I use some biodynamic preps to help me to do that. I also use molasses, I use fish, I use humic and fulvic acids, I use seaweed concentrate. They're all the basis for that. I will add in some biology sometimes. There's a few products around that you can get some trichodermas and things like that if you've got a bit of a problem. The other thing is that I also use cover cropping. So I'll put in carbon-based cover crops and nitrogen-based cover crops, and I try to rest the soil in between. I try to have 5 crops or 4 crops in between a repeat. So I've got to cycle through all of my beds all the time. And the other thing is I've got microclimates. Because I'm in a hilly area, I've got the opportunity. I've got some shaded areas, I've got some strong sunlight areas, and so I've got to use those accordingly. Like the gingers can handle a little bit of shade, so can the turmeric, as long as they're kept moist and they have good sunlight during the day, but they can handle some shade. Whereas the garlics really need the winter sun. When things are not balanced, the plant suffers. It doesn't. Some of its roots, there'll be some negative stuff that gets attached to the roots and starts eating the roots. So the trichodermas at least occupy that site there. Your mycorrhizal funguses are the really important ones because they're the things that the plant can't reach. Roots might reach out about 1/2 metre, whereas the mycorrhizal, if you've got a good structure going, they can pull stuff from 3 or 4 metres away. So if there's a bit of zinc that the plant needs, it can signal it. And there's all this stuff, there's all this chemical signalling going on underneath the ground. Very, very complex, very beautiful. Actually, very beautiful. It gives me tingles. I get goosebumps when I think about it. Yeah, and it's such a, and all we want to do is destroy it by using very specific applications of urea and things like that, and they just destroy that complexity, and the poor old soil doesn't know what to do with it. And in effect, you're becoming hydroponic. In that you've got to then provide all of the nutrients that the grasses or the plants need, and inevitably you'll never get it right. So when you start thinking about that, how do you do that? How do you, when you've destroyed the biology and it can't move that very minute amount of uranium that might be 1 part in trillion in the soil to the plant when it needs it. So we can do it. It really is possible, but it requires observation, understanding, and having a generosity of spirit for other living things. Instead of trying to make square watermelons, let watermelon be a watermelon.
What keeps you farming?
My connection. Because I can see and feel the potential of what's around me, and I'm excited by what I learn every day. There's always something new. I know that the stuff that I grow and that people consume is good for them, and it's full. It's got very good balanced minerals there, so they don't have to have their vitamins. I just wish people well on their journey, and make it a journey and enjoy it, because it's not all about money.
Beautifully spoken. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate your time.